Hey guys, my name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the CEO of Hill Story Marketing. I'm also the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mix TV. So it's been a while since I've seen you, or since you've seen me. A lot of you have been asking, Sean Patrick, why have you been so radio silent? You're never this quiet. Admittedly so, I tend to be a bit of a big mouth sometimes. Here's the deal. Hill Story Marketing has been undergoing a very heavy development cycle. Now, the Daily Mix TV is part of Hill Story, so I've been laser focused on the business side. We have a lot of announcements that are going to be coming out over the next few months, and you'll start to understand why. It's really cool. Working a lot of 20 to 22 hour days. It's been one hell of an adventure, so I can't wait for you guys to see what we've been up to. Now, some of you are asking, why is he doing this now? Why is he coming back? It's simple. Over the holiday season and at the top of January, a lot of folks asked me my opinion in terms of how promotion was doing with respect to holiday sales. What happened during the holiday season from a promotional and marketing perspective, and what my opinion was. Now, I declined a lot of interviews, as you've also noticed. I haven't been doing a lot of public appearances or emceeing any events and things like that because we've been so focused on this development cycle. So, the reality is that on Monday, yesterday, I must have gotten 40, 50, 60 emails asking, what did you think of Super Bowl Sunday's advertising? What did you think of the halftime show? And so on. So rather than answer them one at a time, I thought that I would just do a very quick down and dirty with respect to opinion, as that's what the Daily Mix TV is, editorial opinion. Here's the reality. I think Madison Avenue let us down. Most of you know that I grew up in the advertising business with my father being an ad man, or a madman, depending on how you look at it. Growing up with campaigns like Purdue, it takes a tough man to make a tender chicken, and Maxell, take your music to the max, Dannon is yogurt, and so on and so forth. You grow up with almost an edge. Certainly a little bit of a bias towards creativity. And what I saw on Sunday was just unfortunately such a letdown, and it really bummed me out. Historically, I love watching Super Bowl because it's hopefully going to be a legendary game, a great game. Sunday certainly was. Congratulations to the Eagles. But one of my favorite pieces is the advertising. That's the business I grew up in. That's what I love to watch. And I'm not one of those people that passes commercials, or fast forwards commercials even on a DVR. I happen to enjoy looking at ads and seeing what Madison Avenue is doing, what our competitors are doing, and so on and so forth. So for me, unfortunately, I felt that Sunday was a major letdown. And there's one highlight that I wanted to bring up because from a business and a marketing point of view, it's an absolutely brilliant strategy, and it's the second year it's happened. So you look at Yellowtail Wine. Yellowtail is an Aussie brand. It's distributed by Deutsche Wine and Spirits. Now, here's the deal. In major event advertising, such as the Super Bowl, often you have category exclusivity. Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, or AB InBev, has exclusivity with respect to Super Bowl Sunday on the NBC network, not local stations. And their exclusivity covers beer, wine, and spirits. So here's the deal. Deutsch, on behalf of Yellowtail, last year, 2017, bought up a lot of local airtime on the Super Bowl for Yellowtail wine. Now, why do you do this? If there's an exclusivity in place, you can't advertise on the network broadcast, but you can on the local market breaks. Every single station on NBC O&O, owned and operated, as well as their affiliates, all of them have to take local station breaks from the network broadcast. That's the opportunity to get around exclusivity. And congratulations to Deutsch for leveraging that opportunity. Last year they did it, as I said. They did it again this year. Their CEO even came out and said, look, it's more expensive for us, but it pays off. So I hope the ROI is there for you guys. I loved the creative. I thought it was fantastic. As most of you know, my wife is Australian. She's from Perth, Australia. Here's my problem with one other campaign that blew. this constant need to reboot, rehash, reflash, reimagine everything from the 70s and 80s, it's just irritating as could be. And unfortunately, I feel that Aussie tourism really let us down, at least Generation X, in terms of how much we all loved Crocodile Dundee. Now, here's what happens. Over the last couple of weeks, you've seen a lot of teases about Crocodile Dundee's son is coming back. There's going to be a new flick. I mean, they were literally teasing the hell out of this. Then the spot airs on Sunday. I could not have been more disappointed. It just didn't work. I thought it bombed. I felt that it was trying so hard for a tourism board that typically does some really great programming. So probably just a little misstep, misperceptions and all. Here's my real issue behind the DNA of this spot. At the end of the day, baby boomers and Generation X, they know who Crocodile Dundee is. We all grew up watching, That's Not a Knife, and so on and so forth. Now, here's the problem. Most millennials will not know who Crocodile Dundee is. So the literal 2 seconds or 1 second that they panned over to the original Crocodile Dundee at the bar in the spot, and then back to who's purported to be his son and Chris Hemsworth, come on. There's no way you're going to make a correlative link on a mass scale drawing that kind of emotional connection. And in theory, millennials are the ones that you would want to target for a campaign, especially in Aussie tourism. Remember, millennials are the ones looking for experiences. Generation X is very established, they're very settled in their ways, and so on. Older millennials tend to travel a little more than Generation X does in terms of international to get that adventure and that experience. But at the end of the day, I think this was a real miss, and I think it was a failure, and I'm sorry. A lot of my friends were like, oh my God, Chris Hemsworth was great. As a matter of fact, yesterday morning, I was listening to Elvis Duran in the morning show, which I do every day on iHeartRadio. And Elvis and Danielle were talking about how great Chris Hemsworth looked and how cool it was to see him in the spot. You know what? They're right. He was the highlight of that ad. And for that to be the case is kind of sad and disappointing. So, Aussie tourism typically does a great job. Unfortunately, this one was a miss. Now, this morning, I got a lot of emails asking me for advice with respect to the stock market and what happened yesterday. Here's the deal. Stock market's way overinflated. As a matter of fact, you got companies like Uber that are so overvaluated that they're going to end up completely crashing. Now, do I think that yesterday was a disaster? Do I think this is the correction we've all known is coming for a long time? The answer is no. I actually think this is just a healthy drop, in the market to try and force some common sense and semblance of responsible spend. Remember, guys, we have the single largest or highest credit debt we've had in history. And the Fed has now raised the interest rate, I believe, twice in 2 sessions, all right? Granted, small percentages or fractions of percentages, but at the end of the day, it's still a higher interest rate. So if you have high credit debt, that means you're going to be spending more in those monthly payments, which means you have less cash. If you have less cash, that means there's less money being spent in the market, in the economy. And, investors are reacting to that. Quite frankly, I think they're also reacting to the fact that our government can't be bothered to act like adults, and that's both sides of the aisle. Not Trump, not Obama, not Pelosi, not Ryan, not Schumer, and so on. It's all of them. These people were elected by the people, for the people, and they've forgotten that. And I think a lot of investors are really gun-shy right now as to what's going on. In the overnights, you've seen the markets in Japan, in Europe, they're all trending down. I think Japan closed. At one point, I saw it was down 4%, 4.5%. It's crazy. My point is, don't panic, okay? You're going to have this going on for the next few months until we figure out exactly where things stand. So exercise some patience, exercise some common sense, and try and spend responsibly. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I am the CEO of Hill Story Marketing. I'm also the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mix TV. We're going to be coming back to you daily starting next month, but in the interim, we will be doing some interim episodes. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you soon.